But one of the issues we've been working on very diligently is the prevention of evictions after foreclosure. And we've met with some success and some support. We went to the Fulton County Magistrates Court, asked them to put a moratorium, and the marshal put a moratorium on evictions voluntarily, which they did during the holiday period. We went to the county commission, asked them to support that, which they did. And they even supported a moratorium through the legislative session so we could get legislation passed that would make a new rules for eviction after foreclosure to protect the tenants that had been in good standing in payment of their rents to their landlord, who then was subsequently foreclosed. We've made some significant progress. Tony has put up a website, rentersunite.info. It's a great design. Log in, test it out, see what you think about it, give us your feedback. We've also had legislation drafted that has been actually dropped into the hopper at the legislature. Renters that have been foreclosed, whose house has been foreclosed and have been paying rent, have no notice that there was a foreclosure, and then the eviction notice is just a matter of days. It's not months to get out. It's not how do you make your own new business plans. So one of the issues is we've added extra time in the state statutes, the landlord-tenant law, to give the tenant at least 60 days notice of an eviction after foreclosure. In addition to that, we've asked for mediation to be legislated in this bill that says that if you are in a situation where you've been paying your rent on time, your landlord is foreclosed upon, and you have no relationship with the banker who foreclosed it, you will both have to go to mediation to see if you can't work something out to keep paying rent to stay in the property. That's good for the neighborhood, that's good for the tenant, that's actually good for the banker. But right now there's no method to make that work, so we're trying to get that as part of the legislation. There's several other bills in there regarding housing. One is to reinforce or reinstate the anti-predatory lending laws that were wiped out two or 3 years ago, and consequently we have a lot of loans that were made by unscrupulous lenders to people who really couldn't afford, didn't understand what they were signing up for, and so now they can't afford to pay it back. And we've asked the President, with the coalition of other national movements, to put a moratorium on all foreclosures for a period of time until we can sort all this out. And one interesting thing I read in the paper, which is fascinating, the OTS, which is the Office of Thrift Supervision, which is a federal agency that supervises savings and loans, actually said that would be a good idea. They said that what's happening now is that we're all in this rush to the bottom, so to speak, a race to the bottom, and that these foreclosures are actually driving the crisis now. In other words, nobody has anything to do with the foreclosed properties. We don't know what value they have on them. No one has any place else to go, so if they keep foreclosing, we're just going to make the pile bigger and bigger, or the hole deeper and deeper. And so I think that's going to be coming about. So if you see a website, if you get on our website or get on any of the tenants union, tenants' rights, renters' rights, innocent renters websites, log in and send an email to the Obama administration asking them to support that. That's another crazy consequence of all of the mortgage securities, you know, where you bundle up the mortgages and then sell them on Wall Street and they go to who knows where. They don't really know. There's no direct ownership. The ownership is trust instrument number 1, 2, 3, 4. And they go, well, who's that? And so they can't, so actually the servicer steps in as the agent of the owner and starts the foreclosures. But if you challenge ownership in the foreclosure and in the collection process, a lot of times they'll begin to work with it because they have no record of who actually owns it because it's been sold so many times. In eviction court, and this applies whether you've been paying your rent or not paying your rent. This is just a tip. If you go ahead and answer the notice of eviction and answer it properly and say, I do not owe this rent. I mean, just write on there, I do not owe this rent. Or don't say I lost my job, or just say I do not owe this rent, or it's not my landlord. Just say something on there that's a legal defense so the judge will have a hearing or require mediation. And even if you lose that hearing or mediation, which you might, which is likely if you've lost your job or don't have anyone to pay, you can then go right downstairs, or the next day go downstairs within 7 days and file an appeal of that order. Now, everybody has the right to file an appeal. It's just a form you fill out in the same place you made the answer, and that delays the action of the eviction another maybe 30 days. So just for everybody's information, spread that around. And Seth has a legal clinic that he's supervising at the Task Force on the Homeless. If you've got questions on those issues, you can get signed up for an attorney. But that's one thing we learned when we were with the magistrate's court, and they're sympathetic, but they feel like their hands are tied by the legislation and by the court orders. Of course, we disagree with that. We think they have more discretion than they want to allow, but they are being as helpful as they can. They're being cooperative and communicative. So
Atlanta Legal Aid has put out how the eviction process works, how it starts, and which is a flyer that we printed up and put over here. And it gives you step-by-step of what, once you receive your dispossessory notice, what happens after that. It's very, very detailed. So I definitely encourage everyone to pick that up. Also, at the RentersUnite.info website, Tony's pilot website, it gives a step-by-step analysis of what to do if you're renting and you're paying your rent every day, every month, and the landlord's not paying the mortgage and you're foreclosed on. It gives the steps on how to guide through that process. So I really encourage you all to look at that.